I thought I would try a week vlog with you guys, and today is Tuesday, and it's one of those days that I think exemplifies how what could have been a big writing day ends up being mostly just like household stuff day. It's currently almost 1 p.m. and another plane is coming, so it's gonna get loud, but I have been at home by myself for almost 4 hours now, and I am just now getting ready to actually get ready for the day, take a shower, put myself together, and then after that, I'm planning to go into writing. Okay, so I did the dishes and I took a shower, I got myself ready for the day, which is funny since it's 2 p.m. But that's where we are. I have less than 2 hours before I have to leave home, but I do want to, at the very least, plan for the future of my project. And I feel like it's actually high time to talk about my project because for whatever reason, I felt very secretive in a way and did not really want to talk much about what exactly it is I'm writing, what my book is about. And actually, at the conference that I attended, I had one of the writers who was waiting to pitch with me. So before you pitch, you kind of line up there and you can talk to each other. And so there was a guy, and I guess he started talking, and I felt like I should ask him what he's writing. He told me, and then he asked me what I was writing, and I just didn't want to tell him. For whatever reason, I was like, it's a middle grade. I'm not gonna pitch it because it's not quite ready yet, but I used to have like this kind of project, but now I'm rewriting it to be this. And I did not really, I could have told him like exactly what my story was about, but it felt, I don't know, I did not feel like disclosing exactly what my book was about. And I don't think I've ever talked about it on this channel. And if you hear some weird sounds, that's because my cat is eating over here. That's where the sounds are coming from. Yeah, I've never talked about it here. I don't know why. It feels like, I don't know, in a way it feels like you don't want to talk about it until it's making some progress with agents or maybe even editors. But since I don't know if this will get traction, and since middle grade is in such a bad place right now, I feel like I can just tell you what it is about. Actually, I have my pitch ready here. I'm not gonna, yeah, I guess I can pitch it to you. So when I went to the conference, I bought this Paper Source notebook. I made it orange because there's a fox who's very important in my story, and I felt like the color represented the story well. So it's a brand new notebook, and I've had my notes in other places before, but I thought I would have a fresh start because I was contemplating doing major revisions to my book. And so because of that, I thought, oh, I'm just gonna get a new notebook. It's gonna be dedicated to this project, and I'll just go from there. And so since I got it just before the conference, well, first of all, I have my fox in there, if you guys remember. But since I got it before the conference, I just used the notes part of it to write some keywords. If you watch the conference video, I explained how I was preparing to pitch. And so I just wrote down some keywords about what this book is like. Here it goes. I'm not gonna give you like the comps, the word count and stuff because it's not finalized, because I haven't finished writing it, in the current shape. But I will give you some basic information. So basically, we have two main characters in my book. It's a middle grade, it's contemporary fantasy. The first character is Alexei. Alexei is 12. He's a Ukrainian refugee, and his family has to leave America soon because the refugee program is over. And he's really scared of going back because Ukraine is still at war, and he's afraid of his father being drafted. And so he would really just stay in America even if his family doesn't fully belong here. But since there's nothing he can do, he wants to at least use their last American trip to kind of, have fun and relax and forget about the troubles. And so his mother takes him and his sister to this family resort, which is famous for it, like lots of activities for kids. They have a water park, they have like a magical quest, they have all sorts of like arcades and stuff. And so his mother takes them there, and he really just wants to go on the slides. There's nothing he wants more than that. He just wants to go on the slides and forget and just have fun. But when his mother makes him a chaperone for his sister's magical quest, he gets this unexpected invitation to join the quest. So all of the kids at the resort, they're running around, gathering components like different magical ingredients and fighting the monsters that the resort has in its game. But Alexei's quest is inviting him to play on the monster side. If he can complete his quest, his prize is gonna be a new life for him and his family in America. So originally, when I wrote the book, the original manuscript, this was basically the pitch for the story. It was just Alexei's story, and it was his journey at the resort and, ways in which he encountered his family's problems and the things that came up at the resort and the overall more adult themes in the contemporary American society, his relationship with his sister and his mom. So this was the original version of the book. Now, after some better feedback and after some consideration, I thought, well, what if I have a second boy? And what if I make him a boy from Russia? So what if I invite him to the quest? And what if they're competing with each other? And not only do they hate each other because obviously their countries are at war, but they both have very strong feelings about the prize and they really want to get it. And there can only be one winner. And so I've created the second character whose name is Ivan. And he's arriving at this resort, the Red Fox Inn Resort, just for a trip. Unfortunately, it cannot be a family trip that he was hoping for, where he was supposed to come with his mom and his brother, because his brother has been drafted to fight in Ukraine, and his mom is just distraught at home, afraid that she's gonna get a bad news any day now. And so his aunt's family is taking him on this trip, just kind of like a little pity party, and he feels kind of bad about that. And of course he's terrified about his brother, especially because he might have had something to do with the fact that his brother is currently at war. And so when he gets an invitation to play this quest and his prize is his brother coming home safely, of course he cannot say no. So now we have those two boys who are rivals in this game that's very, very important to them. They both have to fight against basically all the other kids at the resort because they're on the monster side and not doing what everybody else is doing. But then when this game becomes a little too real and they feel like they maybe have crossed too deep into the monster territory, then they start having doubts and things change. And so that's kind of where my story is at. Because I was preparing for the conference and for pitching, it put me in a kind of like a limbo state where I was like, I feel like it's almost like, oh my gosh, like releasing the breath you didn't know you were holding. It is almost like holding the breath. You're like, in a month I'm gonna pitch. And so because of that, even though I worked on the story, I wasn't working as actively, and I felt like, well, I just need to wait till this conference, and then after the conference I will know like if the agent is interested, and I will just if the agent is interested and is like, okay, like let me see your work as soon as you're done, then I have kind of like a deadline, and so I will feel like more motivated and stuff. But then the conference came and went. I was just like filled with all these emotions about the agent's feedback and the overall experience, and like hearing about the state of middle grade from multiple people, and having that panel where the agents and editors like raise their hands and all of that, that I didn't really sit down to write anything since the conference. So it's not now been 10 days, 10 days since the conference, and I'm finally like, okay, let's settle down, let's create a plan. How am I gonna attack this current revision? I don't remember if I told you guys or not, but I had one reader, one of the beta readers, who loved the story as it was. And so that also made me very confused, because I was originally in this like, okay, let me revise, and I think this is going to be such a cool revision having this dual POV. But then I got that feedback from a reader who was like, I think the story works as it is, and I love it, and I don't want you to tinker too much with it because you might make it worse. So I think I was confused because of that as well. And so, yeah, but I do want to see this revision through, because I feel like I can turn it into something very strong that's going to be a little different from what I originally had, but it can be strong. So I want to make a plan. So this was just like a long preamble about what I'll be doing. This planner, it's not filled in. It has like just empty month and like the dates and stuff. And I'm not gonna just, be like, okay, so from now on I'm writing every day like I did with the original draft of this story. I'm just gonna go full speed, etc. I want to be a little more realistic about my time and my other commitments throughout this month and the following months, because I have a lot going on. So that's why I brought my regular planner, which is my work planner, all my social commitments, parenting tasks, and all sorts of things. So I can look at that and see, okay, so this day probably won't be doing any writing because that's too much for one day. Or like today, sometimes I have days when I feel the urge to take care of the house somehow, so I have to kind of like factor that in. And I don't want to focus entirely on just the writing and like forget all about like all my other obligations and everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just gonna make a plan. So what I have so far, I haven't finished writing chapter 1, which is from the point of view of Alexei. So Alexei's chapter, I'm keeping it basically the way it was originally, but I'm switching it to first person point of view, and I am adding one scene there. So I haven't written it. I don't know if I want to do it right now, if I want to go chronologically, because I've already written Ivan's first chapter. And the reason why I'm concerned about writing their chapters chronologically is because I'm concerned the voice is going to sound too similar, and I want them to have distinct voices. So I guess maybe one thing I can do today that's going to help me writing tomorrow, maybe I can think about just write it down exactly how I'm gonna try to make their voices distinct. Like one of them is already kind of using maybe like simpler sentence structures, shorter sentences. I need to figure out like there is character angle to both of them. They're kind of seeing the world through the prism of their interests and hobbies and stuff like that. But I wonder if there's more I can do in terms of vocabulary, kind of sentence structure, stuff like that. So maybe I can formalize this today and then apply it tomorrow. And I've also heard of this trick where you can listen to different music as you write. And I don't know if you guys listen to music as you write, but I do. But I usually listen to the same music, even for multiple projects. Sometimes I have a special project playlist, and I did have a special project playlist for Alexei's book, the way it existed originally. So maybe I'll keep that song as Alexei's song, but then I want to find something for Ivan so that maybe even if I am writing chronologically, I can switch between their voices easily and get in the mood. Okay, I'm in Ivan's head right now. How does Ivan see the situation, So yeah, I think it's a good plan for today. So I'm gonna kind of schedule my month and I'm gonna figure out the difference between the voices, and that's gonna be it. Good morning. I don't know if I was able to wrap up yesterday's video because when I transferred files to my computer and started editing them, I haven't quite gotten to the end, but I think the last video recorded without sound and in slow motion. So if that's the case, I'm just gonna give you a quick update on what I did yesterday. I did plan for the week. I did not plan for an entire month just because I want to see how the first week goes, because I don't want to overplan and then feel like I'm behind. Anyways, and so I did kind of specify different voice preferences for my two characters. I have not quite come up with Ivan's playlist, but I've planned Alexi's chapters only for this week. So I'm gonna finish chapter 1, I'm gonna hopefully finish chapter 3, which is also Alexi's chapter. So I'm hoping that just staying with Alexi for a while, I don't need to think about Ivan's playlist and his voice just yet. I think maybe I'll try to do that and like stick to one character per week so that I can then get into a different mood the next week. Anyways, today is a beautiful day outside. It's 9 something, almost 10 a.m. and it's just such a beautiful day. So I'll be working outside on my balcony as long as I can before it gets too hot. And yeah, I have a couple of hours to work because today I have to go to work we have an important meeting that I have to attend. So yeah, probably a couple of hours of writing at the very least. I'm hoping I can do it. It's been a while since I wrote anything, so hopefully these are a successful couple of hours. Whose birthday is it? Is it this boy's birthday? Is this boy 10 years old? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Snoopy. Happy birthday to you. Oh, I know you need a cake to celebrate. Yes, we need a cakey cake. Yes, we need a cake to celebrate. Let me get something for you. All right, I think I'm done with today's writing. I managed to make the scenes coherent in terms of what's going on and how the two boys see the same kind of situation. So I'm very excited about that. It was very fun to try to figure out like the timing and like the little timestamps, I guess, like that happen in terms of their own interactions, because both of them do not directly interact. They're both with their families in the same location, and it was fun to kind of be in this character's head after knowing what the other character thinks and how they perceive the situation. I will not be doing that much because I know that it's kind of a trap when you're doing dual POV to recap the same scenes from different viewpoints. This might be one of the only scenes which will be recapped in this way, or like which we will see in both POVs. Most of the events in the book are going to be told from only a single perspective at a time, the perspective of the character who has most at stake and who this scene affects the most. But this particular moment is the first moment they see each other, and I wanted to make sure I describe kind of their just first gut impression of each other. So that was very fun. I haven't completed the chapter. It's gonna take me a while. I will try to write more tonight, but I will not be filming it, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Hey, just a super quick update for day 3 this week. It's Thursday. I did rewrite several pages of the first chapter today. I'm now on page 7 out of 11. I want to make it into 10 because oftentimes agents ask for the first 10 pages, and I want to make sure my first chapter, because I know it can be 10 pages. It has been 10 pages in some of the drafts, so I know I can revise it into 10 pages, and that's what I will try to do. So I'm on page 7, so it means I only have 7, 8, 9, and 10 to write. So I will probably not finish it today, but hopefully on Saturday. So my initial plan was to do chapter 1 and 3 this week. This is not happening. I have not had like a full-blown writing day. There's always something going on. Today I spent 3 hours, socializing with my friend, and it's important. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your social connections, but it is not so good for your writing. So it just didn't happen, and that's why I did not plan for the entire month, because I knew something like this could happen and I will be behind. So I'm already behind because today in my planner it said chapter 3 and we're still in chapter 1, which is what it is. So hopefully by Saturday, I will either finish chapter 1 or I will finish it on Saturday. I will keep you guys updated. Hi there, it's Saturday, and just a quick update before I wrap up this vlog. I finished writing chapter 1 yesterday, and today I've read through it. I always do that. I read it out loud, maybe sometimes to the detriment, because at some point I feel like I get used to what the text sounds like and I can no longer see its faults. But the first read through, or the first couple of read throughs, are usually very helpful. So normally I record myself reading through and then I listen to it to kind of hear what it sounds like. But today I read through first to check if I changed everything I wanted to change correctly, including the switching to first person POV, and I found a couple of places where I forgot to change a word or two, like from his to my, etc. And then the second purpose of it was to find those chunks of text, like those paragraphs, where I could edit some things out to get rid of 5 lines. I needed to get rid of 5 lines of text to move chapter 1 from 11 pages to 10 pages, and I was able to do that today. So we finished exactly at the very bottom of page 10, which is perfect because that's where I want my chapter 1 to end. So yay. And I won't really have time to write this weekend. I just won't, I know that. So I think I will see you guys in my next vlog, which I will start recording most likely on Tuesday, and I will be working on chapter 3. Thank you guys so much for watching this vlog. Give me a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!